When it comes to wasting money, people often think about the outlandish things, something like buying a car you can't afford or going on a vacation on a credit card. But in my experience, money actually disappears in much quieter ways than that. It often disappears through decisions that at the time seem smart. Something like you buying the cheaper option, or trying to save money by doing everything yourself, or even buying something because an influencer said that that's the best thing ever. And looking back now, some of my greatest financial mistakes did not happen because of the price tag. They happened because of what happened afterwards. Today, I'll be sharing purchases and habits that I deeply regret, what they taught me, and how I think about money differently now, and I hope you learn something from them. My first regret is being penny wise pound foolish. That is, buying cheap instead of buying quality. Years ago when I started work, I realized that I bought the same pair of shoes 4 times in the same year. And by the time I came to that realization that this is the 4th time I'm buying this shoe in the same year, I already had food problems. Let me explain what happened to you. So when I started work, some of my colleagues were buying like very, very expensive shoes. I'm talking like $200, $250 and upward, right? And for me, that made no sense. Like, why would I spend $150 or euros on a shoe, whereas I can buy one of 30 euros? So what I did was I went into the store and bought the cheapest one I can see, because at the end of the day, a shoe is a shoe, or at least that's what I thought. Eventually, the quality of the shoe that I bought started to tell on me, because for one, I now developed food problems. So I had this thing, what they call plantar fasciitis, yet. So I developed plantar fasciitis because I was wearing the wrong shoe for the kind of work I was doing. Mind you, I was standing for hours at work and I was wearing like the cheapest pair of shoes. So I bought cheap, which is like 30 euros, and my colleagues bought expensive, which is 150 euros. But by the time I bought that shoe 4 times in the same year, what's the price? At that point, I already spent like 120 euros on the same pair of shoe in the same year. But remember, my colleagues that bought like the good pair of shoe were still wearing theirs. They had no food problems, they were comfortable, whereas I was over here suffering because I bought the cheapest one I could see. And that was what taught me the difference between cost and price. We often tend to think that cost and price are the same thing. Cost and price are different things. Let me break it down for you. Just like in my own case, imagine you buy a pair of shoe for like say $30, but then you have to replace it every 3 months because the shoes, it starts peeling and the soles start coming out. So every 3 months you need to replace that pair of shoe. It means that in a year you bought it 4 times. 4 multiplied by 30 is $120. It means every year you spend around $120 to replace that pair of shoe. Now compare that to you buying a good quality shoe that goes for say $120, but then that shoe lasts you for 3 years. Now it might seem at first that the person that bought cheaper was saving more money, but by the time you have to replace that shoe 4 times every year, in 3 years, how much have you replaced so far? 300 and what? Do the maths. Whereas the person that bought the quality one for $120 and it lasts for 3 years, it means that, upfront they paid $120, which seemed expensive at the time, but they actually saved more money than you that bought cheaper at the time. I don't know if it makes sense, and I hope I broke it down properly. Another way that I like to look at cost versus price is by looking at cost per wear. Let's say, for instance, someone buys a winter jacket for like say $300. Let's say every winter they wear it an average of 100 times and they wear it for the next 10 years because it's a quality one at $300. 10 multiplied by 100 gives you 1,000 wears. So it means that in 10 years, they've worn that jacket 1,000 times. How then do we calculate cost per wear? The price of that item divided by the amount of times you've worn it. So that is $300 divided by 1,000, which gives you 30 cents per wear. So now, even though upfront you spend $300 buying this jacket, every single time you wear it, you're actually paying 30 cents for that quality jacket. Now let's compare that to someone that buys a cheaper one. Let's say someone buys a winter jacket for $75, but then they have to replace it every year because it's not a quality one. It means that in 10 years, they have spent $750 replacing this jacket every single year because, 75 times 10, 750. Now divide the 750 by 1,000 times. It means that anytime they're wearing that jacket, they're actually paying 75 cents for it. So upfront, the person that paid $300 seemed like they paid more, but then anytime they wear it, they're actually spending 30 cents. Whereas the person that bought cheaper felt that they bought cheap, but anytime they wear it, they spend 75 cents, which is like way more expensive than the other person. So now cost per price is what I think about. Whenever I'm buying something, I don't go for the cheaper option, I go for the quality option because I will likely not need to replace it in a long time. Of course, it goes beyond my shoes now. I apply to the mattress, to my pillows, to my cookware, whatever you can think about. I always go for the quality, not the cheaper one. I used to be that person that thought that everything is the same at the end of the day, but now I understand that quality is actually quality for a reason. So now I go for the quality. My second money regret is subscriptions. Yes, at some point I had every single subscription you can think about. Amazon, YouTube. Even when it comes to shopping, I used to have like the subscription for you to like get the next day shipping. Yes, I would pay money for subscriptions randomly, and now looking back at it, I didn't really use most of those things. I just had them for having sake. Part of why I was subscribing randomly is that I felt like it's better to have something and not need it than to need it and not have it. But the truth is, I hardly needed those things. I'll give an example. Amazon Prime. At some point, I was paying for Amazon Prime every single month, but then I was going months without even ordering anything on Amazon. Even the same thing happened to me with PLT. Yes, PLT have this subscription where you have to pay for like, is it next day shipping or something like that? And I have that, and I think I used to order from them like once or twice every year. So now the way I approach subscription is, do I absolutely use this thing often? Like, is it convenient for me? me, does it make sense for me to have that subscription? If not, I don't have it. So my second money regret is the amount of subscriptions I used to have. I don't even want to tell you the price because it's embarrassing to say that at some point I was spending like almost $100 every month on just subscribing to random things. Now most things are cancelled and I'm more intentional with how I subscribe to things. Like for me to subscribe right now, it has to make sense for me. Like it has to really make sense for me to have that thing. My third money regret is trying to DIY everything, and that is how I learned that DIY is not always cheaper. I feel like at some point YouTube gassed me up into thinking that I can do everything myself. When I watch videos of people doing random things in their house, like painting their house or fixing the furniture, I'll think to myself, well, that looks easy, I can do it. And let me tell you something, it was a fucking mess. I mean, I did it, but it didn't always turn out the way I planned. Let me break this down for you. One of the things I decided to do myself was my hair. And let me tell you guys something, I deeply regret that. Let me tell you how this started. It started with braids. So I was watching a YouTube video of a girl who was like braiding her own hair, and it looked easy to me. What did I do? I went out there and bought braiding hair. I messed it up a little bit, but I think I got a good enough result, and that kind of gassed me into thinking that I can do more. Eventually, I decided to get a pixie cut, and I think the salon told me something like, I think it was €100 to get a pixie cut. And I told myself, hey, that looks easy, I can do it myself. So what did I do? I went online, found the tutorial, and then went on Amazon and bought every single equipment they showed in the video. And mind you, that was running me like almost €500 at this point, trying to save money, right? Yes. And then I was trying to justify it, and I told myself, well, at the end of the day, I can do this myself at home now, so I don't need any salons. I bought every single equipment you can think of. Everything you can find in a salon, I had it at my home at one point because I was trying to save money. It didn't stop there. I needed to bleach my hair, so I bought the bleach and developer. And for the first time, mind you, I have never tested bleaching hair on something else before. My first experience with bleaching hair was with myself because it looked easy to me. And then I went in, and guess what happened? Your guess is as good as mine. It was a mess, just another mess. And by the time I was done, I had to go to a salon to fix it. And that's how I learned that if a professional should fix something for you that you spoiled, they actually charge you way more for that compared to them doing it themselves afresh. So if you mess up any project and you call a professional to fix that for you, they will actually charge you more than they would have initially. Let me just conclude the story. The hair was too damaged to be repaired, and I had to cut the entire hair off. Yes, I had to shave my entire hair off because I was trying to save money. Yeah, I'm not trying to discourage you from doing things yourself, but what I can say is, if you have to buy special tools, equipment in order for you to do a project that you likely do only once, I don't think it's worth doing it yourself. Pay a professional to do that for you. If a professional spend weeks or months learning something at school, what makes you think you can do that in off of one YouTube video? The other thing we tend to neglect is the opportunity cost as well, because your time has value. Let's say for instance, you're calling out of work in order to do this project at home. Let's say for instance, at work, you get paid, let's say $200 per shift. But then a professional wants to charge you $80 to do that for you, but you decide to stay home and do it yourself. You are thinking to yourself, well, at least I'm saving $80. You are not saving $80, you are losing $120. Always think about time that way. What is the value of that time that you're spending on the thing that a professional could easily do for you, so you can spend your own time doing something more valuable? Right now, the only thing I ever DIY are things that I know that I have to do over and over again. Like if I have to use that tool multiple times every year, then it makes sense for me to like buy it myself. If it's like a one-off thing that I do like once or twice every year, I don't see why I should go out there and spend a lot of money buying the equipment, whereas I could pay a professional to do that for me. Moving on, the other thing I regret spending so much money on is makeup. At a point in my life, I was spending so much money on makeup, and let me tell you guys something, most of those makeups expired and I never had a chance to use them. And I'll tell you how that started actually, because I feel like there was a genesis to that. So at some point I was heavily into makeup. I was heavily into like makeup tutorials and all, and whenever I watch a creator and they recommend products, I will think to myself, well, in order for me to get this look that they have on right now, I need to have the same exact products. Even if I have something that can replicate that, let's say for instance, most foundations are the same, so if you have a single foundation, you can use it for like multiple looks. But then I will think to myself, well, I like the way hers looks, so I'm just gonna buy that same one. And that's how I bought so many unnecessary makeup products that I never got to use. I bought foundations, concealers, setting spray, eyeshadow palette, lipstick. So many of those things expired and I never got the chance to use them. Right now, my rule is simple when it comes to makeup. I am not buying any single product until I hit pan on the ones I have. And that's why if you see my beauty channel, I have a beauty channel here in case you don't know. If you see my beauty channel, I always tend to use the same product. I hardly switch it up because I've told myself we are not buying any more products until this is finished, and I have a lot at the moment. So until I hit pan on those ones, I'm not buying any single product. Do you know the funny thing? I never realized that makeup used to expire. Like, I don't know, it's not something I ever actively thought about. Like, I'm sure that it expires. Maybe like it never crossed my mind. That's what I'm saying, that makeup expires. So I was buying these things and convincing myself that I'm going to use it for a long time. But guess what? Makeup expires and you cannot use expired makeup. So I had to trash all those makeups. Imagine what would have happened if I had invested that money. When I tell you I spent thousands on makeup, I'm not even kidding. I used to buy every single foundation, every single concealer, every single palette. Like whenever there's a new release or launch, I'm sure to buy it. That's how crazy it was. The next thing I regret is kind of a regret, kind of not, and that is buying into the Apple ecosystem. I don't know why I thought I needed to have every single Apple product: iMac, iPad, iPhone, the watch, the AirPods, and the rest of them. For some reason, I felt like, once you start using that ecosystem, you need to buy every single thing in there. To a large extent, I enjoyed using it because it makes work seamless and easy, but I feel like it's stupidly expensive. I feel like sometimes I can't justify the amount of money I spent on Apple products. And thank God I stopped myself from upgrading, my devices now. Like, what I have right now is what I have right now. I'm not upgrading anything. My advice is just go for like what your money can afford. Like, don't force yourself to buy into that entire ecosystem. Personally, the only thing I think is worth it in that ecosystem for me, like mind you, I said for me, is the iWatch and the iPhone, because it's something I use every single day and I like how you're able to count your steps and all. But apart from that, I feel like I could have gone the cheaper route on other devices like the iPad, and you know what I mean. So yeah, the next money regret is buying clothes based on the model on the website and not my body type. Another one is buying clothes based off of like a version of myself that is in my head that doesn't exist yet. Another one is buying clothes for occasions that doesn't exist, but in my head is like, okay, you know what? A time might come when I need to wear this thing. And let me tell you guys, all the clothes I bought for special occasions are yet to have any special occasions in order for me to wear them. So as I was saying, I used to buy clothes based off of what they look like on the model instead of thinking about my own body type and how it differs from the models. And let me tell you something, it differs a lot. So imagine buying an item because it looks so good on the website, but not thinking to yourself, well, that person is actually tall. Are you tall? No. Or perhaps they have broad shoulders. Do I have broad shoulders? Absolutely not. Sometimes the model is what is carrying the outfit. The outfit is not good. It doesn't look good. But the way the model looks kind of sells the outfit to you, because some models can make anything look good. And that explains why I have a lot of outfits that I never wore, because I was buying something that looked good on someone else without kind of putting myself in their shoes to see how that would look on me. So now when I'm shopping, I don't just go based off of the style that they have on the model. I also kind of remember my body type and try to see, does this look good on my body type? And if it doesn't, I don't buy it. Still under clothing, the other thing I regret is buying polyester at the price of cotton or like natural fabrics. In the past, I used to shop based on color or the style of an outfit. I never look at the fabric of an outfit, but then I realized, because I sweat a lot, polyester has a way of making sweat smell weird. I don't know if you've noticed it. So polyester is not the best for like heavy sweaters, and mind you, polyesters are not breathable as well. I don't know the shift that happened, or at one point we started allowing brands to sell us polyesters at the price of like, real fabrics. Why would I pay the same amount of money for cotton and polyester? Makes no sense. In case you don't know, fabric determines a lot of things: breathability, comfort, smell. A lot of things actually depends on the fabric of the clothes that you're wearing. If you find yourself sweating more, feeling uncomfortable, or like, just not feeling good in the clothes you're wearing, I bet you that 9 out of 10 times you're wearing polyester. Always check labels before buying something. And I can tell you that personally for me, it has improved my wardrobe drastically, because I'm not going to say I don't buy polyesters anymore. I'm sorry, because most brands now use polyester. So I can't really escape it, right? But to a large extent, I've cut down on the amount of polyesters I wear. My next money regret is investing without understanding. I'm sure you're wondering, like, how can you regret investing? But then I said without understanding. When I started investing, my first investment was in stocks. Yes, my first investment was in stocks. When I wanted to buy stocks, I went on the app and I just randomly started buying like any stock I could see. I had no idea how to reach charts, whether they were losing or gaining money. I had no idea. All I did was I just went there and I just started buying things randomly. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just randomly bought things, and especially the ones that are popular, something like Apple, Netflix, and the rest of them. My idea of buying stock was that you're going to make money regardless, right? And that is not true. How did I find out? Now the truth is, I actually made a lot of money buying those stocks, but then I lost a lot of money too. But the interesting thing is, I had no idea which stocks made money and which ones did not. So because I didn't know how to read the chart to know which one made me money and which one made me to lose money, I was kind of still just investing randomly, because I was just like, you know what, it's going to like break even, and that's what mattered to me. It's not about investing. You need to invest with knowledge, because sometimes it's actually better for you to like not invest and keep your money than for you to invest and lose that money. So invest with wisdom. My next money regret is bags. I love bags a lot. I don't think you have an idea how much I love bags. And at some point, I was saving money to buy bags. If I love bags so much, why would I regret it? And that's because I was buying bags that are not functional for the life that I have, or at least they're not functional for my lifestyle. Most of the bags I was buying could not contain the things that I use in my everyday life. So I was just buying bags and using them as display in my wardrobe because I couldn't really use them, practically in everyday life. Right now, I still love bags. I still buy bags, but now I think more of functionality. Like, does this make sense for me? Like, will I get to use this bag at least a couple times a year? If the answer is no, I don't buy it, no matter how beautiful it looks. Yes, I can admit I'm a sucker for bags, but it needs to be practical. My next money regret is buying a lot of perfumes. I went through a period where I was buying perfumes in large quantities. Any popular perfume you can think about, I had it at that point. And what led me to that was, again, influencers. Not their fault. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility, but I love perfumes. Like, I'm a sucker for perfumes. So whenever I watch a review and they describe it and it's kind of the notes that I like, I'll go out there and buy it. At the point I had almost 20 perfumes. Now let me tell you something, there's nothing wrong with having like a large quantity of perfumes if you're an influencer or you review perfume for a living. But if it's just you, like, this is not your job, I can't think of one reason why an individual who does not review perfumes or who does not sell perfumes should have over 20 perfumes at a time. It makes sense for an influencer because you likely get it for free as well. But for an average person to go out there and buy 20 perfumes, absolutely not. I won't be doing that again unless I'm reviewing them. My next money regret is the Invisalign. Now, it's not so much the Invisalign as much as what happened afterwards. A couple years ago, I spent over $3,000 getting Invisalign, and let me tell you guys something, I actually like the result. Like, I really enjoyed the result. Now, the problem is that nobody told me that I have to wear a retainer for the rest of my life. You heard me right, for the rest of my life. Knowing myself, I could not commit to doing that every single day of my life. So I knew like it's gonna be a waste because I'm not about to wear that every night. And part of why I regret getting my Invisalign is that if I had known that I needed to wear something for the rest of my life, I should have gone for veneers instead. I know that's my opinion. I know people tend to have reservations about veneers, but I'm telling you, like, knowing myself, my personality, I know that I cannot wear retainers for the rest of my life. That's too much commitment for me. Veneers would have been way better for me, but then I went ahead and got this Invisalign, and then I failed to wear the retainers. So the money is down the drain, and now I regret spending that money because I should have saved it or invested it instead. My next money regret is buying one-use gadget. That is gadget you can only use for one single thing. I'll give you an example. Something like buying a slicer for avocado. You know the random things you see on Temu and Amazon sometimes, just like random things for like random kitchen stuffs. Yes, I regret buying them, and I'll tell you why. The thing is, our brain likes novelty, and these companies are aware of that, and that is why they produce like random things that we don't even need. But then the moment you see it, it's like, I kind of need that. You don't need to buy like 20 specialized tools for your kitchen. You don't need an avocado slicer. You don't need a banana cutter. You don't need those random things you see online. A good knife, one single good knife can do the job of all those things you're buying. Yes. So instead of you buying 20 things, a single knife can actually do the job that you're trying to get those things to do for you. Right now, when it comes to buying kitchen gadgets, I always ask myself, can this thing do like more than 2 jobs? If it can do like at minimum 2 things, I can't buy that. I cannot buy anything that does only one job. Like, I can't buy something that can only do one single job in the kitchen. That's a lot of clutter. I don't have time for that. The next thing I regret buying is things that influencers convinced me to buy. Again, I'm not blaming influencers. I am blaming myself for listening to them. It took me a long time to realize that influencers are salespeople. I didn't realize that for the longest time, but I think the day I saw that, I couldn't unsee that anymore. Influencers are not just there to sell you a product. They're actually there to sell you identities as well. I'll give you an example. Klinger Aesthetics. You might be wondering, what has that got to do with anything? Klinger aesthetic is a type of identity or personality, and most people want to buy into that. In order for you to buy into that aesthetics that they're selling to you, there are products that will get you in there. In order to have this Klinger aesthetics makeup or whatever they call it, you need to have a particular foundation, a particular concealer, a particular palette. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they're selling you a dream, but like it's a packaged dream. So like there are things you need to buy in order for you to access that dream. That's what influencers do. I used to listen to influencers heavily because I was thinking to myself, this is something like, this is their area of expertise. So if they're selling me a product, it's because they've vetted it already and it's good for me, and that is not true. I bought a lot of crap that influencers hype, and when I bought it, I realized, oh, you didn't really care about the person who's buying this thing. For you, it's just under sales. The next thing I regret buying is exercise equipment. Tell me why at some point I decided I would start exercising at home, and I went online, looked for like, the most common gym equipment to use at home, and I took their recommendations as well, and guess what I bought? I bought a rolling machine, a biking machine, some ab equipment, like, some of the random things you find in a gym. I bought a yoga mat, I bought the band, the what's it called, the standard band, the band for like training your glutes or something. I bought all those things and I never used them. When I bought these things, that's when it dawned on me that I don't even like doing them in the gym. My favorite exercise is walking. So like, if I enjoy walking, why did I buy a rolling machine and a biking machine? Makes no sense. And let me tell you guys something, go online and look at the price. Those things are not cheap, but I bought them thinking I'm going to use them. The same thing applies to like buying random things that I don't use because I thought that I needed them, and then find out that I actually don't like them. This same thing applies to most things I've bought, because at the time I'm thinking I'm going to need this thing, but then I buy them and realize I don't even like it. So why did I buy it in the first place? So I want to hear your own side as well. What are things that you bought that you regret buying? Like, what made you buy those things and why did you regret buying them? Leave all that in the comment section. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.